We have made videos about the histories of Germany, France, and England in the past. But what about Austria? Well, it is time we talked about the history of this Central European nation with its rich culture and tradition. So sit back, grab a slice of Sachertorte, and let's dive into the history of Austria. During this period, the Slavic tribes also began to migrate into the area and settle down. The Dukes of Carantania were able to expand their territory through alliances and marriages with neighboring rulers. However, upon learning about his brother's alliance, Carloman immediately assembled an army to punish the march with Byzantine and Frankish troops at his disposal. The march was able to resist Carloman's attacks and even managed to reclaim some of his lost territory. He formed alliances through marriage and diplomacy to create a network of allies that would support his claim to the throne of the Eastern Frankish kingdom. The nobility often challenged the authority of the kings and attempted to limit their power. For example, the Saxon nobles rebelled against Henry I and forced him to confirm This conflict weakened the kingdom and paved the way for the decline of the Ottonian dynasty. The expansionist policies of the Kingdom of France under Philip Augustus posed a threat to German interests in Italy. The Kingdom of Germany was in a state of turmoil, and the Hohenstaufen dynasty's hold on power was uncertain. The previous conflicts with the Italian princes and the ongoing struggle for control of the Holy Roman Empire had left the kingdom divided and weakened. However, Conrad IV's reign was marked by instability and conflict. The kingdom was divided into several factions, each supporting a different claimant to the throne. This period of political turmoil was known as the Hohenstaufen crisis. Amidst this chaos, the papacy intervened and elected a new pope, Innocent IV. Innocent IV sided with the anti-royalist faction and excommunicated Conrad IV. With papal support, Conrad IV's opponents seized control of the kingdom and elected a new king, William II of Holland. This marked the end of the Hohenstaufen dynasty and the beginning of the Luxembourg dynasty in the Kingdom of Germany. Moreover, the growing power of the Kingdom of England under King John posed a threat to German interests in Europe. However, the dynasty's reign was not without its challenges. From its early beginnings as a collection of small states to its emergence as a major player in European politics, Austria has come a long way. We hope you enjoyed learning about this fascinating country and its rich history. If you did, don't forget to show your support. And if you want to continue exploring the world, stay tuned for more travel guides and history lessons. Thanks for joining us on this journey through time, and we'll see you next time. The kingdom faced external threats from the Kingdom of France and the Kingdom of Hungary, as well as internal conflicts between the nobility and the crown. Despite these challenges, the dynasty was able to maintain its grip on power and leave a lasting legacy on the kingdom. Despite these challenges, Henry VI managed to restore order and stability to the kingdom. He negotiated a settlement with the Italian princes and ended the conflict over control of the Holy Roman Empire. He also forged alliances with the neighboring kingdoms to secure the kingdom's borders and prevent any further encroachment. Additionally, the growing power of the Kingdom of England under Richard the Lionheart also challenged German dominance in Europe. The papacy had become increasingly powerful and was asserting its authority over the kingdom. Pope Gregory VII, who reigned from 1227 to 1241, was particularly assertive in his demands, and he excommunicated Frederick II on several occasions. These conflicts with the papacy were part of a broader struggle between secular and religious authority that was taking place in Europe at the time. The papacy claimed that it had supreme authority over all Christians, while secular rulers argued that they had the right to exercise temporal power in their own domains. Despite these challenges, Frederick II managed to maintain his power and prestige. He expanded the kingdom's territory and defended it against external threats. He also made significant contributions to art, architecture, and literature, and he is considered one of the most cultured figures of the Middle Ages. Henry V died in 1125, and his son, Frederick Barbarossa, succeeded him. Frederick Barbarossa continued the policy of expanding the kingdom, influence in Italy and strengthening its position in Europe. He embarked on a series of military campaigns to subdue the Italian princes and bring them under the authority of the German king. However, his efforts were met with fierce resistance, and the Italian princes were able to hold on to their independence. Despite facing setbacks in Italy, Frederick Barbarossa achieved success in other areas. He expanded the kingdom's territory in the east and defeated the Slavic tribes who had been raiding German settlements. He also strengthened the kingdom's ties with the Holy Roman Empire and played a key role in the Third Crusade. In 1075, Henry IV died, and his son, Henry V, succeeded him. Henry V faced a daunting challenge. The Kingdom of Germany was in a state of chaos, and the Ottonian dynasty's hold on power was tenuous. The previous conflicts with the church and Italian princes had left the kingdom divided and weakened. Moreover, the neighboring Kingdom of Hungary had become increasingly aggressive and was encroaching on German territory. But despite these challenges, Henry V managed to restore order and stability to the kingdom. He negotiated a settlement with the church, which ended the investiture controversy and restored the relationship between the two institutions. He also forged alliances with the Italian princes and secured the kingdom's northern border with a victory over the Magyars at the Battle of Lee. Despite these challenges, the Athenians were able to maintain control over the kingdom and preserve their dynasty. Otto the Great, who reigned from 936 to 973, was the most successful Ottonian king. He expanded the kingdom's territory, reformed its institutions, and promoted economic growth. He also played a key role in the development of the Holy Roman Empire. In 919, the Eastern Frankish nobles elected Henry's brother, Berenger, as the king, recognizing his lineage and ties to the region. The kingdom reached its territorial peak under Henry II, who reigned from 973 to 1024. However, the kingdom's stability was threatened by the rise of powerful duchies such as Saxony and Bavaria. These duchies challenged the authority of the emperors and attempted to carve out independent domains within the kingdom. Despite these challenges, the Ottonians were able to maintain control over the kingdom until the reign of Henry IV. This marked the beginning of the Ottonian dynasty in the Eastern Frankish kingdom. However, the Ottonian dynasty faced numerous challenges during this period. The Magyars, also known as Hungarians, posed a constant threat to the kingdom's security. The Magyars were a nomadic people from Asia who had recently migrated to Central Europe. They were skilled horsemen and fierce warriors who launched devastating raids into the heartland of the kingdom. To defend against the Magyar attacks, the Ottonians assembled a powerful army. They recruited soldiers from the ranks of the peasantry and organized them into a disciplined force. They also encouraged the construction of more castles and fortifications to protect the kingdom's cities and towns. The Ottonian army, along with the fortifications, proved to be effective in repelling the Magyar attacks and securing the kingdom's borders. Realizing that he could not defeat the Byzantines and their allies, Karlman decided to sue for peace. He agreed to recognize the independence of the March and established a border along the river Ind. With the peace secured, the March was able to rebuild his state and consolidate his power. He reformed the administration, reorganized the army, and promoted economic development. Under his rule, the March became one of the most prosperous and powerful states in the region. By the end of the 9th century, their domain stretched from the river En's son, Henry, succeeded him as the ruler of Keren. But he faced a daunting challenge. The neighboring Kingdom of Hungary had become increasingly aggressive and was encroaching on Kerensabi's territory. With the threat of war looming, Henry knew that he needed to secure his borders. He built a series of castles along the river Inns to protect his kingdom from Hungarian incursions. These castles would become known as the Anson Castles. They were massive structures made of stone and earth that were designed to withstand siege warfare. They were equipped with towers, battlements, and moats, making them formidable defensive structures. Henry's efforts to secure his borders paid off. The Anson Castles proved to be effective in repelling Hungarian attacks and protecting his kingdom. And Mur in the south to the river Drava in the north, This growing power alarmed the neighboring kingdom of Bavaria, fearing that the dukes of Carantania would pose a threat to Bavarian interest. Duke Leodolf of Bavaria assembled an army to put down this rebellion. Despite suffering heavy casualties, the Carantanian ruler, named the March of Caransaibes, managed to flee to the Byzantine Empire, where he sought refuge with Emperor Basil the Macedonian. Upon hearing about his plight, Emperor Basil invited him to visit Constantinople, where he offered him asylum and granted him the title of Caesar. In exchange for this protection, the March was expected to provide 3,000 soldiers to the emperor for his campaign against the Bulgarians. In the 6th and 7th centuries, the region became part of the Kingdom of the Lombards, but it was constantly raided by other Germanic and Slavic tribes. This instability led to the rise of local rulers who sought to protect their people from external threats. The region that today is known as Austria has been inhabited by humans since the Stone Age. However, the earliest known culture to flourish in the area was they established several oppida or settlements around the 4th century BC, which would later be incorporated into Roman Austria. As the Roman Empire expanded northward, they encountered Celtic tribes such as the Nerici and the Taurici. After fierce battles, the Romans managed to subdue these tribes and incorporated their lands into the provinces of Noricum and Panonia. The Celtic culture, however, continued to influence the region for centuries. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century, the region was invaded by various Germanic tribes, including the Bavarians, the Burgundians, and the Lombards. In the 9th century, the Duchy of Carantania emerged as a powerful force in the region. When Leodolf died in 875, his brother Carloman succeeded him as the ruler of Bavaria, but the March's reign did not last forever. In 907, he went on a pilgrimage to Rome when he fell ill and died. Henry also focused on strengthening his ties with the neighboring duchies, including Bavaria and Saxony. In addition to the external threats, the Ottonian dynasty also faced internal challenges. Under Otto's successors, the Eastern Frankish kingdom continued to prosper. Henry IV's conflicts with the church and the Italian princes led to a period of instability and chaos known as the investiture controversy. However, Henry V's reign was not without its problems. After Frederick Barbarossa's death in 1190, his son, Henry VI, succeeded him. Henry VI faced a difficult challenge. Although Henry the Lion's reign was relatively peaceful, his successor, Frederick II, faced a new set of challenges. After Frederick II's death in 1250, the throne of the Kingdom of Germany passed to his son, Conrad IV. Under the rule of the Luxembourg dynasty, the Kingdom of Germany entered a period of relative stability and prosperity. And that, dear viewers, is the history of Austria.